Greetings and welcome to In Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. We are celebrating the work of ourselves in the form of First Diana Award recipient from Trinidad and Tobago. This happened in 2020. And in 2023, the Commonwealth Young Person of the Year, Maya Kurti Nanan, as well as Shakonia Medal Silver recipient for long and meritorious service to Trinidad and Tobago, tending to promote the national welfare or strengthening the community spirit, founder and director of Autism TT, Dr. Radhika Mahes. Thank you so much for spending the time with us, ladies. I want to start off because many times when you're doing, you don't take the opportunity to take a breath and just say, okay, well, we celebrate this moment and move forward. So in celebrating you, I want to ask, please, and starting with you, please, Ms. Nanan, what are your feelings about the awards and what do they signify to you?
I'm just really happy that, the work that I'm doing here in Trinidad and Tobago is recognized. It motivates me to continue doing what I'm doing here for those living with autism. It's just been an incredible honor holding such prestigious titles, and I definitely feel motivated to continue doing what I'm doing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mahes.
It's been a long journey. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, the NGO have been around only 8 years, but the kind of work that we have been doing have had a very deep impact. And I'm really pleased and I'm really honored that that work has been recognized nationally. Not just mine, but Maya's as well. And I really hope that, this kind of shed more light on the work that we're doing, as well as the journey that we need to continue making. Because yes, recognition for our work is one thing, but it's really and truly the support and what comes after that is more important.
And I want to talk about what comes after, because it feels as though we need to speak about how do we shift from that granular focus on one specific person or that one specific issue, that one person in your circle, towards a national policy to include those they haven't found their voices to advocate with yet. And I asked that following a quote from you, Dr. Mahes, in the Newsday, where you were saying, I actually had no expectations when I nominated her, talking about Maya. And that's simply because both Nanan and I have been advocating all these years, not with the intention of being rewarded, but with the narrow vision of providing for Raul. So in terms of taking that narrow vision, how do we expand it? Where do we start? And I want to ask both of you this, please. Starting with you, please, Dr. Mahes.
The thing is, DK, we have actually always had a vision of where we wanted to be. I mean, when I started this NGO 8 years ago, I know what I wanted. I wanted that Raul would be able to have access to opportunities. And I understood at that point, from all the challenges that we had faced with him not getting access to schools and so on, I know that I wanted better for him and I wanted better for all the other children with autism here in Trinidad and Tobago. So the vision has always been there. The vision was always to create a center or to create an institution that would make those opportunities available for persons with autism. It's just that little by little, when we started off, we started initially with just the events and the activities and so on. But we always knew we wanted to get the center. So when Maya became a member of the Queen's Commonwealth Trust and she got that grant for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, we were so happy that we finally had the funds to start that center. And we started that center knowing what we have to do. We had the vision. The vision was always there and the vision was always clear. But we thought that, let's just start and let's figure it out as it go along. We have a vision. Let's see how we can put things in place to make that vision clearer and clearer and to make sure that that vision includes everyone, not just Raul. So with Raul's Center, we have reached a point where we now understand more than ever that there is a desperate need for opportunities, and that has to come from Raoul's Clubhouse. Because as much as we talk about policy and as much as Trinidad has policies in place, those policies are not being translated into action plans. And while we continue to talk and we continue to advocate for, for changes at the government level, Raoul's Clubhouse has to be providing those opportunities and have to be creating those opportunities because they're not available anywhere else. It's as simple as that. So the
And it's a
next step for us, the most immediate step for us, is to build Raoul's Clubhouse so that we could reach more children. Because right now we have an average of 75 children coming into Raoul's Clubhouse on a weekly basis. We have four main programs, three of which are group programs, and we have so many parents who are calling and asking for us to accept their children, but we are just limited. We are limited in terms of resources, we're limited in terms of funding. We know that we need to build that clubhouse if we are to make opportunities more accessible for a lot more children. So our immediate plan of what happens next is to build a clubhouse because the clubhouse is one of a kind. It is the only facility of its kind. It is one of the few places in South Trinidad that is offering these kind of services. And more importantly, it is the only place that is offering it at a low cost or nominal cost. So we are basically the last hope for parents from lower income groups, from single parent home, from very rural areas, because we have children from as far as Moruga and Cedrus and Sandy Grande coming to our clubhouse in Marabella. And that alone tells you how desperate parents are to get the help that they need.
And with that, we take a short break. We come back. We're speaking with Dr. Radhika Mahes. We're speaking with Maya Kirti-Nanan. And we're looking at how we can increase inclusion as it pertains to individuals and family members who have autism. Stay with us. We'll return with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Maya Kirti-Nanan and we are speaking with Dr. Radhika Mahes. We are looking at how we can increase inclusion for individuals as well as those who they directly interface with who have autism in Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to ask the question, please, Maya, in terms of, it's one thing to say, okay, well, yes, you are around Raoul on a consistent basis and you may be advocating for him, but how does that, and Dr. Mahes spoke about the vision being there and being clear, but how do you start to expand your level of advocacy and say, okay, well, it's not just Raoul, it's more, it's people like Raoul, it's their family members. Take me through that process as it goes through your mind for you, thanks.
Okay, so, I would like to say that, Raoul is not only Dr. Mahes and I, only inspiration. He has inspired so many persons. It's because of him we are creating these opportunities. If it weren't for him, half of these things, majority of it actually won't be in existence. So because of him, we create these opportunities for persons like him. We train volunteers as well as teachers, to interact with persons living with autism here in Trinidad and Tobago. We are continuing spreading that word, but it's not just about awareness, it's about letting them interact with an individual with autism, making them more aware of the specific needs that they may need. We just want to influence the younger generation, my generation, generations to come, about, just not autism, special needs as a whole, because right now, every day we actually get calls from persons, saying that their child is being diagnosed with autism. It's so prevalent right now, and we have no opportunities for them. We have actually been getting a lot of calls this month in particular with government schools and private schools, telling parents that they are not allowing their child to come back because of whatever issue, because they lack the training to be deal with these kids as well as, whatever the case may be. So inclusion starts with everyone, it all starts with educating yourself, and interacting with persons with autism. So you could volunteer with organizations, just not autism, but other special needs, to become more aware of them.
And how important, I've been reading upon a phenomenon called third spaces, and it was talking about the importance of having a space that is not home, that is not where you go to get education, but that other space where you can just be. And how important is a space like Raul's Clubhouse where you actually have those considerations for individuals who may have those special sensory needs, Maya? I'll ask you as well, Dr. Mahes, because it's something that I'm really interested about.
It's very important because by the time a child turns 12 or 13 years old, they are no longer in a school. They go through puberty, and the schools are not trained to handle them or deal with them. So it's very important that the work that we do, because we create individual education plan, that's an IEP, where we work with each child on an individual basis. So sometimes they get that one-on-one attention where we focus on their specific needs. And sometimes that's all a person with autism needs. They just need one person to believe in them and to actually work with them, to help them develop their skills as a human being, so we can empower them to be young adults, and with that empowerment, they're able to find their skills and talents, and they can find jobs in the real world.
I'm glad that you speak about it being a two-way street, because yes, you're empowering, yes, you are believing in them, but you're also getting inspiration from them. I want to ask you that question as well, please, Dr. Mahes, especially since you put the caveat of this space existing where people are able to access this space, well, also looking at spatial considerations, but for a nominal fee. So what are some of the things that are used to fuel in terms of the resources, partnerships that go on in this space that is proving to be so crucial in the lives of so many?
Let me explain it like this. We have children who they have started schools. Some of them started public schools, but by the time they have been in school for 2 or 3 years, the principals and teachers advise them to take the children out because the behavioral problems start to set in, or they just don't understand them and they can't teach them. They don't have special need teachers. They don't have aides and so on. So by 7 or 8 years old, these children are out of a school. Parents are rushing to find private schools. Many of the parents from lower income group cannot afford a private school where school fees range from anything between $5,000 to $10,000 a term. And then on top of that, not just in terms of accessibility, but the children themselves. Autism is a spectrum. We have some children who can very well function in those environments, in a school environment, and we have those who cannot. They cannot sit for long, they cannot focus, they need to get up and walk around. If you don't have a space where you understand that and you're able to work with that, then they are basically left at home. They have no other option. They might be going for a 45 minutes to 1 hour session therapy for the week, and that's it. But when at Raul's Clubhouse, what we look at is the holistic development of the child. So we focus a little bit on everything, on speech, on occupational, on behavioral, on functional academics, so academics at the level that they're capable of going. We also focus on things like calming methods through breathing and meditation and yoga. We also try to offer things like art and so on. So it's a variety of activities that we are using to help them to remain calm, to be able to focus for longer periods of time. Our whole aim at Raul's Clubhouse is that the younger ones, we can get them to the level that they need to be so that they can now function in a proper school environment. We don't want them to stay with us forever. We want to help them to be able to go out there and be in an inclusive environment. For the older ones, we have something called the Youth Enrichment Program with the teenagers and young adults. Many of the teenage boys, because they have been out of school, a school environment for years, they start to get agitated, they start to get violent, they start to get aggressive. They're at home with parents all day, with caretakers all day, and they're not being engaged in any kind of development or intellectual activities. So they need to have that group where they could socialize, where they can make friends, where they can come and they can do things that will encourage their growth, and help them to deal with help them to self-regulate and to deal with the aggressive behavior and so on. And we provide that kind of programs that will help them at that level. So many times we hear parents coming and saying, well, I took him for therapy, but the therapist said they can't help him anymore. Or he was in school, but I had to take him out because they said he disrupted the class. We at Corals Clubhouse, as I said before, we are more or less the last hope, because what we do, a lot of other professionals are not willing to do, because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a different kind of service. So when we teach, we are using different kinds of resource material. We're using visual aids, we're using art and all these other things to help to get to the children. Things that you would not find within the mainstream educational system. And that is the kind of things that a lot of the autistic children need to help them. It's not that they can't learn, it's not that they don't have they don't want to develop. It's just that they need to do it in a different way. And not a lot of institutions and a lot of professionals will commit to that kind of programs.
Is a good as point of any as to say thank you very much, ladies, Maya Kurti Nanan as well as Dr. Radhika Mahes. Once again, congratulations on your awards. You've worked hard for it. You are in it for the long haul. And on behalf of the entire crew at TTT News, this has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you so much for joining us.